Today I'm going to show you my triple stomp Rhino. This one is a personal favorite of mine. It's very easy, it's very comfy, but it has some strict build requirements. It's kind of difficult to get, but once you get it, the build itself is very easy, so let's get right into it, right? So, starting from the top, we have some archon shards, a couple for strength, a couple for some armor, and casting speed. Casting speed is always very nice, so we always want that casting speed. But the armor and strength, that basically brings us from 5,000 ferrite armor to 8,000. I know super crazy high levels of steel path that won't really matter, but I also have a lack of available shards, so the blue shards are kind of just filler there until I get more red shards or more yellow shards or what have you. Now the weapons doesn't really matter what you bring. Bring whatever you like, bring whatever's easy, because this is our easy brain dead build, right? This is our for fun build. So that's why I'm bringing the idiot wraith. The idiot wraith with a ribbon on it. I'm sure I don't have to tell you about the idiot wraith. If you don't know how to build this weapon, then you probably don't know how to play Warframe, so play another game. And then for our companion, we have the Natty Daddy. I have a video about this on my channel, so we're not going to go in depth about it. But the Nautilus weapon, which is the helstrum, it's spreading a lot of gas and cold and impact and puncture, so this is a stat spreading device, basically. It also groups. And then for the build itself, all right, we have Sentience Wrath. We are stomping. So your Sentience Wrath, you have Iron Skin, you have Roar, and you have Rhino Stomp. For some reason, it says they're all costing 0, but fear not, they don't actually cost 0. I know that would suck, right? If your abilities cost 0, what a travesty. So growing power, because we need more strength, it helps all of our abilities. We're using rush because I really like sprint speed. You could use whatever the fuck you want there. I like sprint speed. Now we're using molt augmented. This is for more strength, helps all of our abilities. And then molt efficiency. This is the only one that's kind of a filler slot until I get arcane, whatever the arcane is that, whatever the new arcane is that lets you have extra casts. The one that 20% chance to have your next 3 cast costs covered. That's the filler that it's in for. You can figure out what it is on your own. It's the brand new augment that just came out today. Figure it out yourself. Now, the abilities, it's pretty simple, right? We have strength and we have some armor, mostly for the ferrite armor. It's nice to have a little bit of ferrite armor. I understand that it's not a ferrite armor build, but it helps, right? Then we have rolling guard for when the ferrite armor runs out. This is basically solely for that, but it'll come in handy every once in a while, I guess. And it's also an oh shit button, you know, just in case you mess up your cycle or whatever, you don't realize that you ran out of energy and you have to iron skin soon. It just helps, right? And then we have piercing roar. A lot of people don't use this. I like it. It applies a status, but we're not really using it for the applying a status. We're mostly using this because it increases the range, knocks stuff down, and it allows us to recast the ability. Go figure. And an augment mod that doesn't tell you what it does. Awesome. Then we have equilibrium. Like I said, our bot's going to be tagging a lot of stuff. It's going to be grouping stuff up, so we're going to get a lot of health and energy orbs. And then prime flow, so we can take advantage of all that energy that we're getting and all those health orbs that we're getting. Transient fortitude, of course, we need a little bit of strength. And then prime continuity. This one you probably could swap out, but I don't like having to cast roar constantly, so it gives me a little bit of convenience. This is my comfy build, right? Very comfy, very convenient, very fun. So we have Sentience Wrath again, and then we have Roar. So you can see the damage percentages of that. We have 82% damage vulnerability before molt augmented. So this is applying a big damage vulnerability buff. Plus we're getting a faction type damage from this 117%. So we're causing total havoc. Now let's jump into the test chamber and get a better look at it, the ability cycles before we get into an actual match.
They're waiting for you, Gordon, in the test chamber.
Welcome to the test chamber. Let's show kind of the ability cycle because it's a little bit complicated. You can really control the flow of the battlefield with Sentience Wrath and the augment and what have you. So typically when you use Sentience Wrath, you see they're knocked down. Bottom of the screen, there's a 16 on the meter. That means that these enemies are completely incapacitated for 16 seconds. Of course, it's not going to affect Xmas units, but that's fine, right? We can just kill the Xmas units. So part of why this is typically a bad ability is because it slows down your kills per minute. You don't usually want things just floating away for an hour because that means they're not running into your death. So what you can do is see how they're floating away. I'm going to roar. Because we have the augment, it's just going to reset them. So they still have the damage vulnerability buff, but now it's just resetting them so they can waltz into our death. Additionally, your super stomp, this is like your oh shit button. Now say you oh shit button and then you roar, that's not going to cancel them out of it, right? They're still going to be free falling. But what you can do to get around that, to really kind of specifically control everything on the battlefield, let's wait for them to reset. We're going to stomp them. So say you use roar, you kill the kills you need to get, and then you have a little bit of breathing room. You need to reset. You need things to come into you now. So now then you do that, and then you do that. So you can really like micromanage how the battlefield is moving around you, as opposed to only having a stomp, right? When you only have the stomp, this is your oh shit button, that's it. And there's a lot of times where say you have some duration where it's like, all right, I want this to end, I don't need them to be floating around so long. That's one of the problems that back in the day, a lot of people would be roar min-max builds. They'd be built specifically for roar back in the good old days. And that wouldn't be very good because when they use Stomp, everything would be in the air for 10,000 hours. So now that we have Sentience Wrath and now that we have this updated augment, it's a great way to really micromanage everything. Maybe you don't even want them to end early, maybe you want it to stay like that, but it is another option. And plus it's applying, like all of this is applying statuses, right? You're applying so much status. See, they've got 10 procs of puncture, which is, it is a status. it's a thing, right? So we're damage vulnerability debuff on them, and then we're getting another debuff on them through roar, and we're getting an increase in damage, and it's just devastation, right? I don't have my arcanes ramped up now. If you're one of these people who's like, oh my god, you're using arcanes, like, yeah, you gotta be a fucking idiot to not use an arcane, bro. But trust me when I say this absolutely slaps. It's a very fun build, and now let's get into the actual, like, let's get into a real mission, shall we? Alright. Let's get right into an actual mission. Instead of talking about it, let's fucking be about it. So, not really much to talk about. I showed you the build. I'm sure you understand it now. So we're kind of just gonna bullshit. I really like this new level. I think that this new level is really cool. I do wish it was a little harder. I feel like it doesn't really start getting really fun until you're like an hour in. So that's a little bit of a disappointment, but I love the Corpus tile set that they brought in. The Corpus tile set is very nice. It was my favorite defense mission. I'm a defense main, bro. A lot of people don't play defense mains. They just like endurance, or maybe they just like farming Kuva or fighting Eidolons. I like doing defense. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a very important thing to talk about while I have this time with you, is to talk about that I think some of this content in this game might be made for specific people. So if they come out with content or a frame that you just particularly don't enjoy, don't get mad. I see a lot of people get mad in the Facebook comment sections. Literally every single Warframe post, there's some Sigma god big cock Chad that's just laying down the line, just letting DE know that they're the worst company ever and that they're absolute trash or what have you. Every single time. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy in the comments, my friends. But I think it's a thing that a lot of people don't realize these days, that something might not be made for you. You know, it might not be made for you. Like, it's as simple as that. So when people talk about balance, I think that this should be harder. Maybe it wasn't necessarily made for me. Although I do like it, I wish it was a little harder. I feel like at an hour is when you actually start playing. At least an hour, I should say. But, you know, like I said, it might not be made for me. It might be made for lower level people or something like that. Who knows? Or for a particular type of person. So I wanted to talk a little bit about frame balance too, because a lot of people these days, they think that every frame should be able to nuke. Every frame should be a nuke that also has a weapon buff that also regenerates 10,000 HP per second, right? Every frame has to do everything. But back in my day, back in the good old days of T4 defense keys and shit like that, we had to do team comps. We had to go into chat, and for a defense mission, we had to be like, all right, looking for, I'm Trinity, we need a Speedba, we need a Nyx, and we need an Ember or World on Fire build. Like, it was very specific builds. Now, like, I haven't seen a single person, and you know, that's anecdotal, I'm sure there's some, but I haven't seen a single person searching for a latrine mission. Not a single one trying to do a team comp. Like, even right now, these fucking randoms I have right now, like, we're playing with, I'm playing with 3 randoms. I don't know these people. I didn't invite them. It just so happened that they turned up in the match. And I'm staying with them because they actually seem like they actually have a brain for once. Typically when I'm playing this, I've been getting a lot of Inaros players. No shit against Inaros. I think Inaros is way underrated. People say he's the worst frame in the game and that he's unplayable. Like, bro, I can get him to last like 3 hours without even having any difficulty. I feel like it's the build and the play style. But regardless, it's not for me, right? That content probably wasn't made for me. And I just have to accept that. And I accept that I'm going to get trash teammates that don't know what they're doing. But I guess back to the mode. I do like this mode. I think this transition is fucking sick. It's a very simple effect. I don't know why they haven't done something like this sooner. I really hope we get more stuff like this. But I will say my one gripe, though, is, like I said, I think that it could be a little bit harder. perhaps they will make it harder just by having more Xmas or something like that, or another like void creature or sentient that comes after you. Like I thought we were going to be versing the those archon enemies that you face, right? The Narmer ones. I thought we were going to face Narmer enemies. I feel like this should be Narmer enemies, right? It's a weird fucking voidy world, but I think that's a simple change like that could make it worth it. But again, it might not be for me. But I think that that's something that we all have to kind of accept when it comes to this game, is a lot of it's not made for you. If you look at frames like Limbo, a lot of people don't play Limbo. They think it should be completely reworked, everything completely changed. Let me be honest with you, if they completely changed Limbo, if all of a sudden Limbo was an S-tier nuke frame, I would hate him. I wouldn't play Limbo anymore. I would stop playing my main frame. When you have a small, like when you have a click, right? Say you're watching, we'll go to streaming for an example. Say you're watching a streamer, right? Say that streamer pulls in 30 viewers every stream for the past year. 30 viewers. That's not too, well, that's a lot in my book, right? 30 streamers, right? And then all of a sudden your favorite streamer who used to be like, that's my streamer, right? That's my go-to streamer, is now, you know, it's PewDiePie. Say you're watching PewDiePie and now PewDiePie's everyone's streamer, right? That's not my streamer anymore. It's not to diminish the pewds or to say the brofists are bad or anything like that, but it's not the same thing when something gets very big. And I have to kind of think like that when it comes to frames and balancing, and I know for a fact DE does, because they've touched on these subjects. When they're balancing, like, a part of the reason they're not going to completely rework Hydroid and completely get rid of the puddle and do all this shit is because he's been around since 2014. There's people who, sure, they may only account for 5% of the player base. There might be not even 5, there might be 2% of the player base is a Hydroid player, but guess what? Those players likely also paid. They also paid for cosmetics, they also paid for slots and what have you. They're also a paying customer. So even though something, a content or a frame or a weapon may only be for 2% of players, you shouldn't really completely discount the devs, right? They are marketing to a player base that is very specific. And in some instances, I do think it's also just, sometimes the devs just don't know what they're doing, I'm not gonna lie to you, with some of the balancing things, but I think, at least since Steve has been gone, no shade at Steve, because I played his game for fucking years, but I do think that the balancing is a little bit better. Stuff seems to be faster, we seem to be getting a lot better content. Not as glitchy, of course, every single update does have a bug. Like the bug that came with this patch I've noticed is that when I look at my energy on the display screen, it says that everything costs 0 to cast, as we saw earlier. So they're obviously not perfect, but I think people have to realize too that this is an indie dev team, 300 employees. It's not too big in comparison to the games they're compared against. Destiny, for example, has 700 players. That's over double the amount of players, bro, or double the amount of devs. And part of that 300 too we have to take into account is it is also it's also not developers, it's also not developers. It's the custodial assistant, it's the marketing guys, it's probably a legal consultant. I guarantee you they have a legal consultant. There's no way they don't, right? That's part of their 300. So that amount of devs is actually a lot less than 300. That's like the Warframe team, you know? So I do think it's very important to keep in mind that, and that's why we're getting content like this, where it's, you know, it's one mission, a new frame, a bunch of I'm shocked. The arcanes are fucking sick. Kind of a reskinned game mode, a very, very good frame, who's, I don't think she's very visually interesting. I really like the core concept of her, but I don't know. She's not for me. I feel like she's not for me, right? I'm going to admit that. She's not bad. She's a fantastic frame. Good art design, I guess, but it's just not for me. I'm not going to be playing her. And that's something we need to keep in mind when we're balancing stuff. A lot of, like I said, people think that, oh, Hydroid should just be completely reworked, completely changed, but you're going to alienate people. It's no longer my streamer, right? It's not my streamer, it's everyone's streamer. Same with Insane Clown Posse, right? A lot of people like Insane Clown Posse because I can say that's my band, right? Nobody listens to Insane Clown Posse. It's very rare, right? There's like 8 of us. It's like 8 of us. So that's my band. And that's not to discount anyone who has a big fan base, like, oh, you can't like it, but it's not as special in my opinion. It's not like this is my little secret thing. Even if you're sharing it with people, right? Say I'm posting ICP links all the time. That doesn't mean you can't share things with the world or that you have to gatekeep. But I just think that people, when it comes to game balance, and maybe even in life in general, can't understand that some stuff just isn't for them. So they shouldn't rush to immediately complain about it on Facebook comment sections and explain to the devs exactly why they should make the game how they want, right? How Limbo should be a nuke frame, Hydroid should be a nuke frame, everything should be a nuke frame. And part of that too is I'm biased myself, right? Like, everything I like is fucking trash. I don't know what it is, bro. Everything I like is trash. I don't do it on purpose, I fucking swear. I think it's called like anti-disestablishmentarianism or something like that. I saw a clinical diagnosis for it once, but I can't remember what it was. I'm dyslexic. Come on, your break. But part of it is everything I like sucks. I like Insane Clown Posse. I like playing shitty frames like Valkyr with the the Geyer weapon that came out. I forget what it's called, the Alternox. I like using the Alternox. I like using the Tenet Livia. Everything I like, people think sucks. Like the Pox. I don't know what it is. Every game I play, like back in the day, I played Melee as a kid. When I played Super Smash Bros. Melee, bro, my mains were fucking Kirby and Bowser. And back in my day, we didn't really have internet except for like cheapplanet.com. So that wasn't like I Googled, you know, who are the best characters in the game. That wasn't like really too much of an option. It just, everything I like, it always ends up just being shit. I don't know what it is. So, like I said, I might be biased. Maybe I don't want the devs to change certain frames because I like shit. But I guess that's something to keep in mind too. And I think Saren is trash. I think that Protea is trash. Sure, they can nuke entire rooms. Yeah, they can nuke entire rooms and make the game super easy. I think that's trash. I think that's absolute dog shit. People get really mad when I say Saren's trash. Look, bro, she's not fun. I'm playing this game for fun. If they're not fun, they're trash. That's how I view them, right? I don't care if they can nuke the room. I don't care if they can turn the game on easy mode. I don't want easy mode. Like, when I played Dark Souls and Bloodborne, I wasn't playing them because they were easy. Like, now they're easy, right? Now everyone thinks, oh, Bloodborne's super easy because you've beaten it 5,000 times, right? Yeah, I know where every single enemy is. Of course it's easy. But sometimes we just have to accept things, man. We just gotta accept it. But I guess I before I get trailed off in my any further into my rant about everything how that I like sucks and that Saren is trash, we're getting a little too heated. We're getting a little too deep, I guess. But let's get a little bit about the ability. So I should always be keeping my roar up. Should always be stomping. Should always be doing all of my abilities in this mode. Honestly, it's just so brain dead easy. This mode. Half the time I pick it, I don't have to do anything for an hour. Half the time I am just zoning out and listening to music. Like, I'm listening to music right now as I'm talking to you, bro. Keeping tempo, baby. But I do think that this is a fantastic little expansion. This is a classic Warframe expansion. Oh, well, way back what I was saying before, like what I was saying, way back in my day, we didn't have too much to do in Warframe, right? We had one tile set, we had like 4 frames, 5 weapons or something like that. There was like nothing to do, and we still loved the game. We still played it feverishly. Now they'll come out with a level like this level that's bigger than any one tile set we had way back in the day. New weapons, new frame, new arcanes, like big compared to the updates of Yonder, the old updates from way back in the day. These are huge updates. I think it's just people have to always compare everything to a Destiny DLC drop, right? I think that is a fair comparison in the fact that they're both space game shooters, looter shooters, but at the same time, like, dev team sizes, man, it's apples to oranges. Like, sure, you can compare mechanics and whatnot, but there's other things in that, right? Nothing's always black and white. People act like it's black and white. Oh, they're 2 video games, therefore they should be compared. I think there's a little bit differences in them. And like I said, part of it has to always come down to, it might not be made for you, right? Destiny might not be made for me, so I'm biased. We shouldn't compare it because it's not made for me, so I don't have an objective viewpoint like you may have. Maybe you've never played Destiny, so you have an even better objective viewpoint than me. You've never played Destiny or Warframe. You think both of them are shit, you know? But at the end of the day, I do think what the devs are giving us, despite the delay, I think that this, I think they've been doing a really good job, honestly. I constantly see people screaming in the Facebook comment sections about Warframe posts saying that the devs aren't doing much, and that they're, like, trickle feeding us and trying to sell cosmetics. Like, I personally want more Warframe cosmetics, so I'm super biased in that aspect, I'm not gonna lie to you. I do a lot of ribbon trading, what can I say? And on top of that, I do think that the content that's been here has been better than like what events we used to get. So I'm very biased, and also in the sense that I'm from the old Warframe days, right? Like the Zoomers who've been, I've seen a lot of people who they've been playing this game for 4 years, right? They've been playing it for 4 years. That's a pretty long time to play any game, but they didn't get into this game for the same reason that us 10-year vets have gotten into it, right? Back in my day, like I said, there was like 2 tile sets and like not many frames. I literally played the beta. I actually played the beta on PC, and I played it for a good while, stopped playing it because I was like, this game's gonna fucking die. I wanted to buy the Prime Access, the Excalibur Prime. At the time I did have money because I was mowing lawns and whatnot. I think it was in high school, yeah. I was mowing lawns or working in an auto body shop or something like that for school and getting paid for it. So I could have bought it, so I'm fucking super kicking myself. I keep seeing people being like, oh, as a kid I couldn't afford it, I wish I could have. Like, I was a kid, but I was an idiot, I could have afforded it. There was nothing to buy in the shop, bro. There was 3 Ciandianas for fashion and like half the color channels we have. That was it. So I was like, why the fuck would I ever buy Platinum for this game when, like, it's so easy to get frames, there's no reason for me to get it, so I'm really kicking myself. But back when we started playing this game way back in those days, we played it for a way different reason, right? There was a way different game. There wasn't bullet jumping, we had stamina. That was a big reason people bought Hydroid, right? Hydroid was a good stamina frame. He had one of the top 3 stamina bars in the game. And now it's like, people, that's another reason Hydroid is bounced the way he is because he was bounced differently back then. He was made for having stamina. But like I said, people have to realize that some things aren't made for them, and screaming in the Facebook comment sections is just, it is making us all have a good laugh. I have a good laugh when I see it, but it's really not as necessary. I do think that the Facebook comment sections or what have you can actually be a good way to give information to dev teams in some senses. For bug reports, they're getting absolutely nothing for it from bug reports, right? Absolutely nothing. But if the community manager is seeing a bunch of posts saying like, hey, I really like Citrine's design, I'm fucking nutting over it, bruh, I can't stop bursting my little jimmies over it, then, you know, maybe they might try to tell the devs like, hey, I really think we should publish some official Citrine Rule 34. I think that would be really good for the game's overall health. So there are some minor things that can happen like that, but part of it too is people overestimate the community managers. Like, most community managers are not like Rebecca, where all of a sudden they're in control of the fucking game. Like, she literally joined a sinking ship. And now the ship's afloat. It's a lot different. It's a lot like different when you're joining a sinking ship than you're joining like a giant pirate ship, right? So I do think that it is nice to verbalize your comments like, hey, I really liked this update, but there's a bug. You know, you can say that stuff on the Facebook comments, but there's bug reports, bro. The Facebook comments aren't really going to do anything for that. It's more for, they're trying to see the sentiment, right? What are the keywords people are using? Are people saying keywords like fun? Are they saying keywords like angry? Keywords like shit? Like, what are the keywords? They're kind of trying to narrow everything down. And also, they're gauging based off of the likes. They're gauging based off of the overall engagement. Like, did a lot of people comment on this? Was it favorable? Because there's all those Google Analytics and shit like that, right? They tell you, it's insane how deep the Google Analytics wormhole goes down to. They probably have, I guarantee you that Warframe has people just analyzing data. Like, that's their only job, is analyzing Warframe data. And we've even seen Pablo's come on stream with some data charts and stuff like that. I can guarantee you they have an internal guy like that as part of the 300 staff. Not an actual dev, mind you. But like I said, if you're gonna give very harsh critiques of Warframe on a Facebook comment section, it's gonna fall on deaf ears, because, as I said, they're kind of just looking for keywords. If you drop a I was disappointed by this and leave it at that, that's one thing, right? That's one thing to communicate how you feel about content. But it's really it's like me making this YouTube video, right? Like, 3 people are gonna see it. It's not gonna make a difference. The devs aren't gonna be like, oh my god, Wade made a video about Warframe. We should definitely listen to him because he's been playing this game a long time and he probably knows what he's doing, right? He's been playing longer than some of our devs. It's not how it works. And I'm trying to circle it all back to, it comes down to, some things aren't made for us. You know, maybe Facebook commenting isn't made for you, and you should consider that and stop stop doing it. Maybe you should stop. You've been lied to, my friend. It's not for you, despite the fact you have one. I know you do. I'm looking at you. I'm judging you. Look at this fucking little dweeb. This little dopey smudge. This little curfudgeon. This little fucking cunt's got a Facebook account. What a dork. What a fucking dweeb. But, like I said, it's not made for me. Maybe you're made for Facebook. I think that's really cool, man. I think that's really cool. I'd be interested to know what the consensus of other people is. I really like this. I think it could be a little bit harder for this mission. I have seen a couple forum posts of people saying that they actually think that this mission is difficult. I don't understand how you could think it's difficult. I've been playing the game for 10 years though, so I definitely a little teeny tiny bias. But I do think that it's a shame that it doesn't get good until an hour mark. I really have to play this for an hour to suddenly like be like, yay, I'm actually like, I might have to think. Like, I haven't thought at all, as you can tell. I'm just spouting, just exposition. It's just exposition. I'm an NPC mode in Legend of Zelda. I'm one of those background guys in the house. You're breaking pots in front of him, and I'm talking. This is the dialogue that comes up. But at least it's better here in my contained space. This is my channel, right? Like, I'm documenting this for me. If you just so happen to enjoy it or like it, that's really cool. But it's more so for, like, I can look back one day and see, like, I remember that build. Here's like a showcase of the build I have, because I do have a big regret that I never really recorded my escapades on Warframe, because there's been so many changing metas, and in some of the metas too, I had stuff that other people didn't consider meta or use, but it was like my version of the meta. And because of the changes of the games, it just doesn't work now. Like, it's mostly in reference to things about stamina and, like, things that are removed from the game, and, like, movement text, like, just a lot of stuff that you can't do anymore. The game's, it's a different game now, right? So I do wish that I had some sort of documentation of that. That's a large part of why I'm doing these videos. But it is always nice to have some place to dump some of my thoughts about this community and whatnot, because I don't know, man, lately when I comment on like Facebook comment, not Facebook, I hate Facebook so much. The Facebook groups are only go to Facebook groups if you want to sell ribbons. That's all it's good for, is selling ribbons and maybe some trades. But when I go into forums for like anything, Discord, comment sections on YouTube, people these days, it doesn't make sense. Like, there's so many times where you'll try to say something in some sort of chat, a comment section or whatever, and then people are like, why are you talking about this? Like, this isn't, like, yeah, it's tangentially related to the issue, but, like, why are you trying to have a discussion about it? I know I'm not the only one who has stuff like that, right? Because I see the Facebook posts. I see the schizo posters who will post a very long diatribe about absolute, like, multiple different things, like 10 different things, all condensed into one 10,000 word Facebook comment. And it's partly because they don't really have a place to put that, I imagine, right? I'm theorizing. It's socially weird to be dumping that stuff on, like, a social media site, but if you're dumping it in a video, I feel like that's a little more socially acceptable. Maybe I won't get bullied at school if I post my thoughts online into a YouTube video instead of exposing them onto a corporate Facebook comment sections. Do you rate me in the chat? Hey chat, my imaginary friend chat, can you rate me on a scale to 1 to cringe? But I do think that that is a big thing that's weird in the Warframe community, that if you try to talk about something, like go into region chat, or no, go into a clan chat specifically, go into a clan chat or any alliance chat, no matter what alliance chat you're in, no matter what clan chat you're in, if you try to talk about something and you're having a respectful disagreement, you know, a debate, I think that that's perfectly fine. I don't see any, like, no name calling. As soon as there's name calling, it's like, bro, end it. You know, the second someone's like, you're a fucking idiot, you end it. It's no longer respectful. You know, you're not gonna get anywhere with that, right? But a lot of the time, bro, these mods are so, like, I'm a mod in a clan, right? But these mods, like, all of a sudden people they're having a friendly debate, you know, they're debating ideas, explaining why, you know, I think Ember isn't trash, I think she's still really good, I think you just have to play her differently now. Sure, she was just a push 4 button before, but she's still really good now. Like, having discussions like that, and then someone saying, well, I think you're wrong, and you are wrong because she was way better, but she also had more build, right? Like, you know, those friendly back and forth discussions, when you're doing those in your clan or your region chat, or even in your clan Discord or region chat, those friendly discussions these days always get squashed. I fucking hate that. Like, it's one thing, right, if someone's being disrespectful, like I said, but a lot of times these mods are super overzealous, and they're blocking stuff, and they're shutting conversations down. And I feel like that kind of is what drives people to leave these crazy Facebook comments on the Warframe official Facebook page, because, like I said, they don't really have any other place to discuss this, because every time they try to talk about it and debate with people, they get shut down. Whereas the Warframe Facebook page and what have you, your shit's gonna stay up for like 10,000 years. I wish they would delete your comment, you know? It's bad press. Why don't they delete your comment? That's pretty bold of them to leave that, like, hey, gamer word, you ruined the game, that I saw a couple weeks back. It's pretty bold, but no, they didn't leave that. But they do leave a lot of negative comments on their videos. I'm shocked at what they leave. Like they're obviously going to block the gamer word ones, right? How could they not? But it's pretty crazy the criticism they get, and they leave it up. But I feel like that's part of why it all circles back though to some stuff might not be made for you. So don't feel like you have to go on the Facebook comment sections. Don't feel like you have to debate with these people. And you know, like I said, this mission's kind of easy. I wish it was harder, but it might not be made for me. So I shouldn't go onto the Facebook comment section I don't know, I shouldn't go onto DE Meg and DE Reb's personal Instagram accounts or whatever and start mauled posting about how fucking angry I am about balance or something. But then again, like I said, you know, maybe this will be someone's special gem. I fucking love Limbo. Limbo's my favorite Warframe. But if they made Limbo an S tier nuke frame, I'd start hating him. He wouldn't be my special gem anymore. Everyone would be using him. And I like when something's made for a few amount of people. Maybe this was made for a few amount of people. We do have to consider that. I do think that these days people always compare everything to, you know, it has to be perfect. There was a Kickstarter game recently that was absolute trash and failed, that, or maybe a couple years ago, that it was supposed to be the last game you ever play. It's the solution to gaming is a problem, right? Like, I don't want a game that's made for everybody, right? I want Bloodborne. Bloodborne's not made for everyone. Warframe's not made for everyone. And they make this very standoffish art design. The art design, there's so many people who look at the art design in this game, they're like, ew, icky. When I first saw this game, when I first saw the trailer, I was hyped for it because I felt like it looked so fucking weird. It looked like, like that's the only way I could describe it, as weird, bro. Like, that's so fucking weird. No cap on God. B100, my youth vernacular. I really fell in love with that. This could be my game, right? And now that there are millions and millions of users, it's no longer my game, because everyone, like, it is still my game, but everyone plays Warframe, right? It's 10 million registered losers. But at the end of the day, I can still have my frames, right? And I hope that they do keep the same kind of balance mentality, where they are helping old frames, but they're not completely changing their kit. Grendel is one thing because he's kind of a newer frame and no one played him, but these 10-year-old frames from 2014, like Hydroid, you know, there's people who that's become their frame. It's been sitting and marinating for so long that taking away from them and making Hydroid an S tier super frame is really gonna, you know, it's gonna help some players, but you might risk losing more people than you gain. You might risk losing 5 whales over gaming, you know, 100 Hydroid users that'll just use him for a specific mission still, right? Like, how many times do you have to rework Hydroid before he's good? So just try to, I guess the moral of today is just try to keep that in mind whenever you're on the Facebook comments of YouTube or Warframe critiquing their balance, because it might not be made for you. It might be for a specific reason. A lot of people think nothing is for a reason. I think the devs do things for a reason most of the time, right? I think that's safe to say, but you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. So I guess that's the end of the video. Like I said, the build is nothing crazy, right? We're just putting Sentient Slam on top of his first ability. And we Sentient Slam, then we Roar, so that it makes people get up immediately and we're not losing a KPM. And then we use Rhino Stomp for a no shit button. That's it, bros. That's it. You saw me use the build. You saw a mission with it. A very easy mission. Plus, I showed off the new content. If you like the skin, let me know. The only way you can let me know if you like the skin is by going on the Googs and you type in Ohio or something like that. Start learning about how very key and vital farming areas of America have just been completely devastated, and it's not frontline news, and the EPA isn't really doing anything about it at all, even though for the last several administrations, EPA has been massively mismanaging their funds. A bunch of executives and whatnot got $4,000 allowances for furniture at the EPA. There was also, they send hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars away to other countries for environmental initiatives. It'd be one thing if we got the receipt back, right? Like, I would love to help Ogbog Beloshi, the most polluted place in the world, but we're not getting receipts back when we send the money over. So next time the EPA literally sent a couple $100,000 over to Mexico a couple years ago, it'd be nice if we got something back other than environmental initiatives. Like, it'd be nice to know, like, all right, what was exactly done with that? So yeah, the only way to let me know if you like this Rhino skin is to go on Google and to research Ohio and research the EPA and see if the EPA is grossly mismanaging their funds and that they need an overhaul, and that all these three-letter organizations, oh shit, I gotta go, there's someone at the door, I will talk to you guys later.